Okay, next video. If anybody watched my last video, you would have seen that my attempts to find line pressure in my 4L80 didn't go to planned. I found a small leak and fixed it, but it didn't fix the problem. So today I'm going to get a bit more drastic, and I'm going to pull out the entire Jake's D3 transbrake, and I'm going to put in a stock valve body using a Jake's recalibration kit. So still the 4 check balls, no plugging the case. It's not required with his the separator plate that comes with the recal kit. So today I'm going to do that and see if it makes a difference. It probably won't, but if it doesn't, that's a good thing, because that shows that the Jake's D3 transbrake is working as intended, or likely to be working as intended, and my problem is elsewhere. So stay tuned. I've just pulled the Jake's D3 transbrake valve body out. I'm going to put the stock valve body back in. I'm going to use the original solenoids that came with it, but the Jake's kit makes you move the mounting bolts and the manual linkage, so I'm going to move that all across. I've also just discovered that using the Jake's recalibration kit separator plate means I don't have to plug the case, which is awesome, because if I did plug the case and this didn't fix it, that's hard to remove that plug again. So I've got a recal kit to go with this over here. So I will put the recal kit, the Jake's separator plate, some new gaskets, move the clips across and put that in and see if it makes any difference. I don't know the condition of this valve body, so it could be really leaky. It could make the situation worse, although I don't know if it could actually be worse. So it's worth a shot. Alright, D3 transbrake disassembled, and I've got oil on my camera lens, it would appear. Oh well. I've taken the retaining clip out for the TCC. I've taken my EPC plug, I've moved that to the new one. I've moved the manual valve, I've moved the retaining screws, new gaskets, Jake's recalibration kit, separator plate, and Jake's accumulator delete all comes part of the recalibration kit. So that's ready to go back in the car, but I need to get some Vaseline because I don't have any trans gel, and I need something to hold the check balls up underneath the car because gravity is not on my side tonight. So I need to get some Vaseline before I can put that in. New day, back to it. Been to the shops, got some white petroleum jelly, poor man's trans gel, so that will help me stick these gaskets in position, and also stick the check balls in because I've got to work upside down and they keep falling out. So that will be handy. Can't get trans gel easily here, but this stuff does the job. So yeah, I'll get these gaskets stuck down and get under the car. There's a good bit in there now. Hopefully they don't fall out. I'm probably overcooking the complexity of this task, but I was wondering to myself how I was going to get this lined up and held in place under the car just by myself, because obviously I've got to balance the check balls, I've got to get everything in place, so I've got to get the bolts in all with 2 hands. So I've got a couple of old what's it called, valve body bolts, and I just lopped the heads off them and I just cleaned them up on the belt sander. This focus is useless. Just cleaned them up on the belt sander. I'll put them in the end of the drill. This drill here. Yeah. And I was just able to round off the end of them. So now I'm just going to thread those into the bottom of the trans, and they should help me line this up as I lift it, and I can put other bolts in and take these out when I'm done. Yeah, that's the idea anyway. Alright, if everything goes to plan, I should be able to just slide the valve body up on those 2 dowel pins. The check balls won't fall out. I'll probably stick my big fat head in the way though, just for some extra spice. We'll see how it goes. Wasn't too bad. Pins worked okay. Manual valves engaged. alignment pins come out easily. I've just put a few bolts in there They're not done up tight, they're just snug so it's not floating around, so the check balls just can't fall out now. I'll now put the right bolts in the right spaces and actually torque them according to the torque sequence, but I'm not going to record that because that's boring. Okay, all the bolts in, torqued in sequence and to spec. I now need to remove a couple of the bolts again to run things like here. There's a bracket for the rear lube, and I think it's there, might be one of these other ones actually. And there's a couple that hold the clips for the wiring harness. So it's all torqued. I remove them individually, put them back in, torque them up again, and then I'm ready to put the wiring in. Okay, original wiring harness back in, rear lube tube in. Everything's connected by the EPC because I don't have one. I haven't put any of the clips on the wiring because it's not going to be in there long enough to make a difference. This is only a test, so that's fine. All right, filter on. The filter seal is perfect for those who have asked about that. It's a snug fit. It's a new seal. I've got spares, but I'm not going to change it. It's fine. And yeah, filter in, pan back on, fill with fluid, test. Righto, back in the car, ready for another go. Let's see what happens with the standard valve body. Trim in park, yes, good. Well, it did shoot up to 100 psi, which is better than before, but it's dropped back down to nothing again. So I suppose that's good news, because that means it's not the transbrake, and I really didn't want it to be the transbrake because that's hard to replace. The guys in America will be just saying, yeah, send it back to Jake. That's $1,000 in freight to send it back to Jake. So I don't want to have to do that. So the fact that it's still happening with the standard valve body tells me it's not the transbrake, and I'll have to pull the transmission out again anyway, but at least it's something that I can fix and something that I can get parts for locally. So all in all, good outcome.